Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Kevin the Tech Ninja, and today this is my long-term review of the S23 Ultra. Now, I've been using the phone for over a month now, and I've had around 3 updates on it so far, and those things sort of changed when I initially got the phone. There's a couple of things that were adjusted and things that have gotten better. I'm not gonna talk about hardware too much in this video since this is not gonna be the first video you're watching on this phone, but I will say a few things about the hardware. So number one, this phone looks amazing. It looks just like the S22 Ultra, and that is just a testament on how great the design is. Now, I don't know what else can change to make this device look better. I don't think there needs to be an overhaul on design, and people saying it's getting boring, I don't know. I just think that Samsung is pushing the bar as far as design and what's currently available at this moment. They have foldables and they have candy bar style phones that are just great. I don't know what else can be done. In the hand, it's pretty simple. It's a large slab of glass with metal on the edges. It's simple, but I dig it. Now, this phone is not going to be one-handed friendly. It's a large phone and you should expect it to use it with 2 hands. Let's talk about the screen on this phone. The display looks amazing. I can honestly say it is the best screen on mobile. Not just because of how big it is, not because these bezels are super thin, but the brightness in direct sun is something I really enjoy. I was using it in the harsh Arizona desert with the sun beaming down, no problems at all. It's also customizable, so you can make those fine adjustments to the display to adjust all the colors to your liking. And out of the box, it's full HD and not QHD. And Samsung did that for better battery life. Now, honestly, I did change the resolution to QHD and I didn't see anything different. I didn't notice anything better, but I just got less battery life. So in my opinion, full HD is just fine on this phone. Even when watching high-end content, it still looks really good. The screen is just great. Watching videos and movies, all was an amazing experience. Actually, one of the best experiences I've had on a mobile phone. Even the speakers sounded great. They get loud, they have a nice thump. And in the morning when I listen to music, I cast it to a Sonos speaker, but lately I've just been using my phone and I'm okay with it. Not better than a Sonos speaker, but the point I'm getting at is that it gets very loud, but it's so clear that I'm okay with just listening to it on the speaker. So this phone does have all the bells and whistles, right? You have the in-screen fingerprint scanner that just works fine. I mean, you just tap it and you can pretty much get in. I know there's faster ones and bigger ones out there, but this one works really great. And I even forgot that it works when the screen is off. So you can just tap in that same spot and it turns it on. At this point, most phones have this. And I know this is not really a feature to talk about too much anymore, and it's also just not in your face, but it's just one of those things that this phone checks all those little boxes that's important to me if I'm to use a phone. It also has the ability to face unlock. It's not Face ID like Apple, so it doesn't work the exact same way, but it's just another way to get into your phone just by looking at it, and it actually works pretty good as well. Now, I have said this for many years that I am not the best person to talk about the SPen. I don't use it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not something I just don't have a need for, as I use my finger for everything. When I do force myself to use it, I can honestly see it being a decent tool for many people. On a recent trip to the grocery store, I had a list of items. I could check it off with the SPen, sure. Or I use my finger to tick the box. For me, I just don't have a reason to use the SPen. I will say it is more satisfying. It looks cooler using the SPen. When I was jotting down measurements, when I was working on the house, I just popped this out right here and I just started writing on the screen, which is the screen off memo. You don't have to unlock the phone. And that is very handy if you need to write something down very fast. You can also sign PDFs, but once again, Adobe has a built-in signature. With one tap, it will sign it for you. I will say one of the coolest features of the SPen is being able to use this guy to take photos. This acts as a remote trigger. So you push this, you can take a photo, you double tap it, it switches the lens. It does a lot of different things. So the SPen is sort of like a Swiss Army knife. You can do a lot of things with it. And I think that feature right there alone for me is the main reason I use the SPen, is just using it as a remote trigger. But once again, that is just me. I know a couple of people who I see them whip their SPen out and they're using it for a lot of different reasons. It's just not for me. It's not a bad thing, just nothing that I particularly use. Yo, it's time for a quick break to talk about something that will keep your phone protected and also stylish. And that's Casetify. You might think your S23 Ultra is strong enough to withstand anything, but trust me, mistakes can happen. And that's where Casetify comes in. What makes Casetify stands out is their innovative and trendy designs. They have an amazing case customizer that allows you to create your own unique case, complete with pictures and text. Whether you're into minimalism, bold colors, or cute animals, they got you covered. When it comes to protection, Casetify's Impact Case is the way to go. It's designed to provide top-notch protection while keeping the bulk to a minimum. The air cushion corners provides 8.2 feet of drop protection, and it meets the 4X military grade standard. All the edges are covered and the buttons are responsive and not mushy like other cases. Now, one thing about bulky cases that I don't like is trying to get to the SPen is a little bit difficult. Not right here at all. You can get to the SPen without a problem. Casetify offers a range of additional accessories like glass screen protectors and lanyards for even more protection. So don't miss out on this opportunity to keep your phone protected and stylish by using my link down below and also the coupon code down there as well. Now let's get back to this S23 Ultra. Got a couple more things to talk about. So as of this recording, this phone has the latest version of Android 13 in One UI. You know, One UI has made a lot of strides over the past few years to become my favorite OS on Android. Is it bloated? I don't think it's bloated. Like, people say it's bloated, but for me, when I think bloated, I think it's just a lot going on and it's very heavy. It doesn't run great, but it runs really well. If you take a look at my speed test linked down below, you can see how fast this phone actually runs compared to Pixel and compared to OnePlus as well. This phone is very stable and it's just fast in my opinion. There's still going to be some redundant apps that some come with Android and some that Samsung provides. And then you have the Galaxy Store and Play Store, which kind of get confusing. You can install some apps from the Galaxy Store and then install the same apps from the Play Store. And sometimes you forget which app is where, and one app is updating here. And it's just, I don't like that experience. It's not really great for the consumer. Look, I get it. Samsung wants you to use their apps even though it's using Android as a platform. So that causes this little conflict that has been going on since the beginning of time. If you look at a game, this phone is a great phone for gaming. The big screen allows for some easy touch controls, but when I play games, I like to use a controller, and there is a controller bug, which I don't get why this is still happening years later. The PS5 won't map correctly for whatever reason. So you're playing with the PS5 controller and the buttons are all over the place. PS4 controller works just fine. I don't get it. But beyond the controller thing, gaming is great. Touch response is fantastic. You have amazing sound. You have very high frames per second. Playing Apex, look, I enjoy Apex a lot, and playing it with the controller on this phone is an amazing experience. And sometimes you can kind of get lost in yourself when playing, where it really feels like you could be playing on a PC with a smaller screen, or you could be playing on a console. It really feels like that because it runs that great. And with the controller and the touch input, it just feels native. It feels like it belongs on this device. And that can be true with other games like PUBG and even Call of Duty Mobile. All those games run really great. And I'm very happy to report, after extensive testing, this phone does not overheat when playing games. S22 Ultra got very hot when playing games and started to throttle sometimes, and I have not ran into that. Even my longer grueling sessions on Apex, where I could play up to 45 minutes in a row, still fine. So I give Snapdragon and Samsung a big thumbs up on gaming mode because they figured out a way to not let it overheat. So those are kind of like the major core things with the phone, but we have to talk about the camera. There's always a big emphasis on camera, but this year, I feel like it's even bigger. You know, during the keynote, Samsung really talked about cameras majority of the time. And no matter what the specs say, it looks and it feels like a Samsung camera. Now, what I mean by that is that you have the same characteristics as of any Samsung camera, for better or for worse. When taking photos in good lighting, you most likely will love the picture that comes out of the camera. I think the color profiles are aggressive and they push the blues and greens, and I think they're really good. Now, some of these shots you're seeing, I can't find a flaw in these images. They look really great. Now, when we go to mid-light and then skin tones, we start to see Samsung starting to Samsung. We see the skin tones become a bit washed and some aggressive lightning is starting to occur. And some of the elements that should have shadows start to be too bright and the shadows are missing. The funny thing is, when you actually go to night mode, and this is where the camera starts to flex its strength with Samsung's newest nightography mode, These images look great. Even portrait shots at night with little to no light, you can get some dynamic looking shots and everything pretty much stays together. I'm very impressed with it, and I think these are the best images out of any camera I tested when we're talking about low light mode. Everything I'm saying applies to the front facing camera as well. Samsung did something interesting by dropping the megapixel count to 10 megapixels, but the pixels are bigger, which allows for more light to come into the sensor due to the larger pixels. However, some details are lost on the front camera when doing that. But I will say the trade-off for the front-facing camera is that it is better in difficult lighting situations. So think about a restaurant is not well lit and you try to take a selfie with your friends and it always looks blurry and bad. Now it has larger pixels, more light comes in, shutters a little bit faster, and you get a better image overall. Obviously, one of the big features of this phone, if you look at the back of it, you see, are the zoom lenses, and they work great up to 10x. Now, once you venture out of the 10x range, there is some quality loss there as expected. It's not a con, as most cameras can't give you 30, 50, and 100x, so it's all net positive if you have that feature at all. Now that feature is great for things that are way out there, but not things that you're trying to make closer. Just things that are really far away that you want to better look at, where there's not a lot of details already. That's where it shines, but not using it as a zoom lens to get better details, if that makes sense. Overall, the flexibility of the camera system on this phone is great. I've been a big fan of it since my time using the phone, and I'm really enjoying it. When I go out of town, I'm actually really happy with this camera, being able to zoom into things that are super far away to grab that information. It works really great, and also having that 10x zoom is really good, just to kind of get a zoom up shot, especially if my kids like playing sports or like on the play set somewhere. I want to zoom in. 10x is a great number, a nice sweet spot to have on a cell phone. Okay, let's dive into video. And this year, I can tell Samsung put a lot of behind the scenes work with it. Not only does it do video better, stabilization is better as well. I find that video portrait mode looks great. Using it at the park with my son generated some of the best videos I've seen on a cell phone. It can be hit or miss sometimes with finding the face, but when it hits very good. Also, if you're using the video handheld, there is something called super steady mode, which takes out all the shakes and jitters from the video. So if you're doing like a lot of running or anything like that, it does a great job at keeping it stable between the hardware and software. There's a lot going on and it does a pretty good job. Comparing it to the iPhone's action mode, I think they're almost on par with each other. Let's talk battery life. This is a topic I don't like talking about because it's different for every single person and there's so many factors that comes into play, but you guys want to talk about it. So let's do it. So I get around 7 hours of screen on time, and with that, I can get around 17 hours of total usage of this phone in my test. Obviously, there's a lot of downtime when I'm asleep, but still 17 hours with 7 hours of screen on time is really good. And that's on par with last year's phone, and it's around what I get on the iPhone Pro Max 2, although its stats are not as advanced where I can't really dive into it. But beyond great battery life, what I do enjoy is the fast charging, which after plugging my phone in for 15 minutes, I get an additional 30% of battery, which is enough for a few more hours of usage. It does have the reverse wireless charging for earbuds or a watch, which I've only used a few times, but it works pretty well. And it also has just regular wireless charging. If you have a Qi charger, throw it on there and it can charge wirelessly too. Let's sum this up, and this is gonna be simple. The S23 Ultra is my favorite phone, period. It does everything I need it to do, and it still has the flexibility to do even more. If you use DeX, you could truly tap into some additional power that's never been seen on a phone before, but I'll cover that one in a different video, so stay tuned. Samsung has done a great job with this phone, but here's the thing. Everything I said about this phone, pretty much, I said about the S22 Ultra. There's not a lot that's different there. Not enough to justify an upgrade. Now, if you have an S21 or a Note, yeah, upgrade, do it. But the year-over-year upgrade just isn't worth it anymore. With Samsung, slashing the trade-in prices, it is really hard to justify making that leap. All in all, I don't give number reviews for phone, but if I did, it would definitely be a 9.5 out of 10. Truly a masterpiece. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like and hit subscribe. Kevin the Tech Ninja, have a wonderful day. Talk to you guys later. Are you still watching? Yeah, are you still watching this video? Turn the video off. watch a different video, link below, cards are popping up, click those videos. Stop watching this video. Stop watching this video. Hey, stop watching this video. Next video. Go to the next video. All right, peace.